All right, I think we're live. Are we live? All right. Here we are in day two of my 75-day video challenge. And these are raw and uncut and just me sticking to what I said I would do. 75 days of being on video live when I can. I just realized yesterday after speaking with my wife, it's not going to be live every day. Have to use some recorded ones because we will be traveling. And as I hit Scottsdale, Arizona for the Executive Connection Summit, I'm sure there's going to be a few days of ones that are recording posts. But today, the topic that I promised to talk about, and just to let you know, I actually went through a generator for 75 ideas for the days, and I'm sticking with all of them, even if they're areas that are not necessarily in my wheelhouse or that I'm very good at. And the one I'm going to be talking about today is one that I'm actually not very good at, that I struggle with, which is time management. But somehow I do manage, and I'm still productive, even though I do have troubles with it. And I'll share with you at least some of the ways that I do it. And it's probably something, if you're a creative, that you probably struggle with as well, right? The number one thing that I'll point out is that I always trust my rhythms. So people are built in different ways. For example, I was up at 6:30 this morning, right on my computer, working on an outline for some stuff I'm doing on a blog and potentially an interview for computer vision and the security and alarm industry. And I literally just stopped now to be able to do this video, right? And for me, those peak hours early in the morning are absolutely awesome for getting those creative juices going. And I would say that I'm probably, I would say maybe 3 or 4 times more productive when I listen to my rhythms than when I don't, which from a time management perspective means I can get a lot more done if I pay attention to it. Fast forward in the day, call it 4:30, 5 o'clock. That's when I, make sure that I calendar things that require less creative ability. In other words, if there are, some tasks, manual tasks that I have to get done, or certain things, and knowing your rhythms is absolutely very important. Number two, this one's been a godsend for me because I've tried all the different task management software platforms out there, different methods. They don't necessarily work for me, except for one, which is my calendar. So I make sure that every day, and the first thing I do in the morning, actually, I should probably go backwards a little bit, is that I pick 3 things for the day that I know I have to get complete. And that's where my target goes. Once I have that, I slot out time in my calendar, so that when people are looking for time slots to book to get me, that I can do that, because it leads to the next point I have about time management, which is focus on one thing at a time. So human beings are not great multitaskers. I don't care who you are. You might think you can do several things at once. Maybe you can. I can't. And I think you've really got to do that. When you focus on one thing, you get it done well and you get it done on time. So if you're looking to save some time, do that. The next one's really important too, and I think it's something that we often forget about, especially when we get busy, and that's taking time for yourself. So making sure that you break up the day to rejuvenate and recharge your batteries. Could be some simple things. For me, I'm fortunate. I work out of a home office, and I love to cook. Cooking for me is one of those great things, as my waistline attests to, that actually does bring me a lot of joy and relaxes me. So when it comes lunchtime, I'm going to actually prepare a meal. It's going to get me away from work and recharge those batteries so that I'm more productive once I'm done. Or take my dog for a walk. You can see Luna laying on the couch right now. She's being very good. Yesterday, she was actually pretty distracting, but we love her, so we let her do what she wants. Um, the other thing I do is ask for prods and reminders. So one of the things that when I get nose down on a task, the world disappears. I get so into whatever I'm working on that sometimes I don't hear the calendar notifications. Sometimes I just lose track of time entirely, right? So I do ask. Oftentimes, I'll ask my wife, or I'll ask someone that I'm working on a project with, to remind me, right, to ping me, to let me know that something else is going on. So when time gets away from you, sometimes people are your best asset to get you back on track. The next thing I will say is accept that you cannot do it all. So if you're trying to manage your time, you're really going to feel like you're terrible at time management if you're trying to get too many things done in the time that you have. So make sure that you get better at breaking down how much productivity you can actually output in a day, and stick to that, because you can't do it all, right? Um, and the next point I'll make, and this is a really important one in my time management sort of regimen, again, because I'm creative and I'm not very good at it, is I've had to learn to say no. So if I've got a full day, I can see that the 3 things that I'm trying to get accomplished for the day, the big things. Um, I take a serious look at my calendar, how I've got that slotted out. And if somebody asks me on the fly for something, sometimes you just have to say no. Sometimes you have to look at postponing that until the next day or a couple of days, and not to be afraid to do that. You don't have to do it in a negative fashion. You can let people know what you're working on, and why you don't have time, and the next available slot that you can give them. So you do have to get better at saying no to manage that calendar. Um, the other thing is find the joy in what you're doing. And that's one thing that I've always been very fortunate with in my career, is pursuing the kinds of things that I love to do. And within the time in the day that I have to do things, I get a lot more done simply because I'm having fun. So if you're not having fun, maybe that's a topic for another day. Kind of look at the kinds of things that you're doing that are interfering with the time that you have to get things done. And certainly, if you're watching this either live or in a recording, let me know what some of your tips are for time management, some of the things that work for you. And until next time, keep learning.